Okay, so that kind of talks about, we talked a little bit about how she starts to narrow the topic with using the word single story. And if that's kind of how she does it, you could also go through, make sure we're here, and I can highlight within the highlighting, right? Single story, if it lets me. There we go. Okay, and she also talks about how Fide, their poverty was my single story. So here she talks about, again, stereotype. And then she keeps it narrow, right? That her roommate had a single story of Africa and also of her. And so you can go through and look for every time she uses single story and see if you can kind of substitute the word stereotype in there. And that kind of talks about how she keeps it very focused throughout. The next thing is, how does she develop the topic? So then we're going to look for critical evidence to support the theme and shows insight on the topic. And if we go back to here with Fide, right, we can talk about how she provides evidence as her own experience, how she developed a stereotype of someone she knew personally. And she kind of expands that into how her roommate, as an American, had a single story of Africa, and that single story or stereotype was catastrophe. And here is where she kind of shows insight. I might put here insight on the danger of a single story. And so you're going to kind of go through that and talk about how she uses evidence, and it also, how does she offer credible, accurate details that create pictures in the audience's mind? And so she makes a point of telling numerous stories throughout to create a picture of how a single story can be dangerous. And here, I think, she definitely uses evidence and creates a vivid picture. And so you'll look through and highlight in purple anything that helps her do any of these particular things. Now, in order to successfully complete this activity and to um, show competency in the standard that we're measuring here, you will need to identify two or more themes. So I've helped you to identify the first major theme about single stories becoming stereotypes. But you'll have to also identify a second or third sub theme, one that we kind of started to do up here with um, this light purple, to save yourself, to save having a single story. And so, discovering additional or many stories, which she refers to off and on, could be a sub theme. Or you could talk about, she focuses a lot on how having a single story of Africa is dangerous and how the United States has kind of developed that single story. Um, and at the end, the very last sentence might also help us identify a possible other single, a possible other sub theme, that when we reject a single story, we realize there's never a single story about any place. And so those are some possible subtopics that you could go through and see how she focuses on those themes. They're all very similar, but she kind of weaves them all together to create um, this overall main topic.